into it again. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we'll be going over a 770 horsepower Shelby Super Snake. Now this particular truck obviously is the single cab, so this is the quickest variant you can get. Absolutely insane. I think we need to rename this the Widowmaker. I'll explain that later in the video. First and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to Ed Kenley Ford up here in Layton, Utah for providing us with the Shelby Super Snake. Check out their inventory in the link below. Obviously they've got this Super Snake, they've got a bunch of other Shelby trucks, and I don't know if you guys can peep over there, but they do have some Baja Raptors over there. They've got a bunch of stuff, and more importantly, they actually do not charge over MSRP for any of these specialty vehicles, so check them out. So under the hood, we have a supercharged 5-liter V8 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 770 horsepower, and there's no stated torque figure. My guess is it's probably somewhere in the 600 foot-pound range. And then I love how the supercharger is painted Ford Performance Blue. It's powder coated. And then you've got the carbon fiber tube that goes to the air intake, and then you've got upgraded fuel injectors, throttle body, and spark plugs as well with this whole setup, and that's how you get the tune up to 770 horsepower. Let's go over the front end on the Super Snake. So yes, the hood is functional and it looks so awesome. So you guys remember this hood from the Shelby Raptor, same exact design on the hood, and then you got the racing stripes that cut through it. Other than the fact you don't have like the vent there on the top of the Raptor, because they've got to make things a little bit more aerodynamic, right? And then this front fascia is absolutely massive. Obviously you need a ton of airflow to feed that 5-liter supercharged V8, but it just looks so cool. And then you get your Shelby F-150 770 horsepower badge right there. Still got the regular headlights here at the front, fog lights as well, and then you actually get a front splitter. Yes, that is right, a front splitter on a pickup truck. Just let that sink in for a second. But yeah, overall the front end on this truck is so aggressive. Now around the front here, we've got 305mm tires on 22-inch wheels, and then in the rear, same setup. That is absolutely insane. And then if you take a look at the brake setup, so for the front brakes, we've got 6-piston extreme on the calipers, and then for the front and the rear, the performance slotted rotors, and we'll look a little bit more in the rear in just a moment. But just take a look at the size of those front rotors here for a truck. Remember, these wheels are 22-inch, and then yes, you've got the Shelby branded brakes as well, and then this does have front coilover suspension, so that's part of the reason why it's so low to the ground here on the front end. And you guys can see just like the stance there from the front end perspective. And yes, that vent is functional. It does help out with cooling, and it's got another cool Shelby logo right there. And then you have another Shelby logo just right here down below on the bottom portion of the truck. In the rear, you've got Shelby tuned performance rear shocks. You've got a rear leaf spring shackle kit and an adjustable rear sway bar. Again, like all the stuff you see on performance cars, you have on this truck because it's a performance truck. Now the brake caliper on the back is not painted red, but again, you've got those performance rotors. Just look at that. Like, again, this is a truck. You guys have to remember, this is a truck. And then you got the Super Snake Sport badge, but here's kind of like a side view on the single cab. Yes, that's right. You've got the side mounted exhaust with the truck, and then you guys can see some of the stuff that's happening underneath here. Obviously I don't have the truck on a lift, so I can't really show too much, but I'm trying to show this as best as I can for you guys. But yeah, just crazy here with everything that's happening in the rear. This is normally where I go over the truck bed, but we've got a slight inconvenience in today's video. You see it's locked. I don't happen to have the key, but that's okay because it's just a normal truck bed. You have the Shelby logo on the back. You've got this cap with racing stripes, but there's nothing different from this than any other F-150 bed. So like, again, you're not really missing out on much, but you've got the Super Snake Sport badge right there. And more importantly, if we look down below, you can see there's a spare tire under there, but more importantly, there's no tow package. Yes, this is a pickup truck and it doesn't have a tow package. And if you're wondering why it doesn't have a tow package, then refer back to the earlier part of the video with the tires and the suspension and the 770 horsepower. And if you still don't understand, then I can't help you. Ooh, just kidding. It's a normal gas cap. The one thing I will mention, and it says it right here for you, 91 octane minimum. Again, you cannot go below that. It's not E85 compatible, but it has a normal like Ford capless system, so that's pretty cool. Now coming to the door panel here in the front, there's something really important, and that is the fact that you don't get the Borla exhaust on this side. It's only on the passenger side. So the passenger gets to hear a little bit more exhaust than the driver. But anyways, going back to the door panel, You actually get soft touch here on the side, and then they've added carbon fiber. Again, remember this is built off like a basic work truck, so they've added elements to make the interior nicer, and that includes the seats. So they've done this really nice like leather here on the seats with the stitching. Got the Super Snake Sport right there, and then you've got suede inserts on the seats themselves, and yeah, just they feel really nice. And then you can see you've got the power adjustment there on the side of the seat, but this part is still manual on the back. And then they've also upgraded the pedals, so those are a little bit nicer. That is all the same right here in this little area with the hood latch, and then with the parking brake, and then the light controls as well. Steering wheel is still manually adjustable, but again, look at all the carbon fiber they've added all throughout the interior. But there's one more look before we pop in. Now here is the steering wheel in the truck. You can see that they actually haven't changed the outside part of the steering wheel, just the elements right here. They've added the carbon fiber here all along that part of the steering wheel. But you've got your normal stuff like your volume controls, voice command controls, controls for the center stack, cruise control as well. So like, even though it has 770 horsepower, it's still a normal truck. And then behind it, you've got the stock for the turn signal. And then over here, you can see that you've got the drive mode select. And then if you want to manually shift the gears yourself, you just use a little column shifter there. So here's the gauge clutch. You can see it says Shelby on the one side, and then it's got Carroll Shelby's signature on the other side. And I just love kind of like the blue undertones. It looks a lot brighter on camera than it does in person. It's kind of like more of like a navy-ish color, if that makes sense. And then you can see here in the center stack, you've got that normal little digital readout that'll give you different bits of information like tire pressure, speed, all that kind of stuff, temperature outside. That Mustang that just drove by was really loud. Let's see what the fuel economy is like right now. 2.8 miles per gallon. I mean, it only has 11.7 miles on it. But like, we all know this thing's gonna be a gas guzzler. And then finally, let's get into the drive mode. So you just press that button in, and then you've got your normal, your tow haul, snow, wet, eco, and then sport. And yes, in a 770 horsepower truck with pretty much like racing tires for a truck and suspension, brakes, all that kind of stuff, you got an eco mode. So normally this is where we go over the touchscreen, but I would like to go over the warning labels with this truck. Yes, this truck has warning labels that are right in your face. So you can see you've got all these warnings about like how to start up the vehicle and everything. So that's why you guys notice when I started up the vehicle, I turned the key, turned the electronics on first, and then waited, and then turned the truck on fully. So you have those warnings. And then you have this warning over here with the acceleration. So you cannot exceed 4,000 RPMs or pull a trailer or use cruise control for the first 1,500 miles, or you might void the warranty with the truck. So you got to be very, very careful, including me for this video. Now this is the whole infotainment area, and again you can see all the carbon fiber trim around everything, and then at the top you've got the stability control, which I recommend keeping that on for the first little bit of ownership just to be safe, and maybe also like driving slow in four-wheel drive, just a recommendation. Again, this is like the Widowmaker, but you've got the little auto stop start right there, and if we actually pop it into reverse, which apparently I don't know how to work a column shifter, there we go. You can see the backup camera pop up, and you can zoom into your non-existent receiver hitch on the truck, but you can see it's just like any other Ford backup camera, but the truck's really small, so honestly, it pretty much doesn't need one. And then the infotainment system is just like on any other Ford. Like, they haven't changed anything here, so like, even though this is a 770 horsepower truck, you get a normal infotainment system. We've got a whole bunch of controls down here in this section. So you can see under here, we just have a 12 volt, and then you got controls for the radio, climate controls down below. It is a single zone climate, but again, literally it is just this seat, the seat I'm sitting in, nothing there in the back, so you don't need a dual zone climate. So yeah, that's good there. Here's the driveline select. You can see that you actually still get a locker in the rear, but you get your 2-wheel high, 4-wheel high, 4-wheel low as well. And yeah, there's that whole area right there. You can see you get a couple of USBs and another 12 volt down there. So I've got a couple of cup holders right here. This looks like this is like the stock material that comes with the truck, but some extra storage underneath. And then picking it up, obviously it doubles as a bench seat, and then it's got the nicer materials like the stitching, all that kind of stuff, the smoother leather. And if you're wondering why you need a bench seat in this Shelby truck, well, you've never had a girlfriend before. And anyways, I'm finishing things up. It looks like the dash again is like stock. The glove box area, all this just looks like it's the stock stuff from the truck. So it looks like nothing's changed there, other than obviously the carbon fiber elements on the vents. And I did forget to mention the mirrors are the normal mirrors. They are heated, and you got a little blind spot mirror in it. You see the original window sticker here. Again, regular cab, 10-speed automatic, 2020, 5-liter V8, race red. This really isn't that important, so if you want to look at the options, you can. The biggest thing I want to show you is the price, $44,940. Now, if you're standing up, take a seat, because Well, we've got the Shelby sticker. This is the real sticker. So feel free to freeze the frame on this as well. Like I said, I probably missed just a couple options when I was going over my walk around. It's always bound to happen. There's so much stuff that they change with these Shelby trucks. But guess down below what the final price is on the truck with all the Shelby equipment. And now that you've guessed, $93,385. Let's take the Super Snake out and see how it drives. Let's quickly talk about visibility here on the Shelby Super Snake before we saw off. You guys probably saw like how long that startup was. Like I said, you got to let all the electronics run and everything, but visibility of the hood's really good, even though it's kind of like raised up a little bit, and those stripes look so sweet. And then there's your visibility through both of the mirrors, and then here's your visibility all throughout the rear of the Super Snake. So as you can see, it's a really small size truck. Visibility is really good. And that all being said, let's set off. We are initially setting off here in the Super Snake, and well, let's first talk about the road noise and the ride quality. So from a ride quality perspective, it's actually smoother than I expected. I expected the truck to ride really rough because of the coilovers and everything. You definitely do feel quite a bit in the truck, but it's not as bad as what I expected it to be. And then in terms of noise, you hear a lot from the supercharger, not as much from the exhaust though. You guys heard that exhaust clip and it sounded gnarly. But when you're actually getting on it and everything, it's mostly a supercharger that you hear. And we are going to get our acceleration. Like I said earlier, guys, we can't go above 4,000 RPMs. The truck obviously doesn't have 1,500 miles on it, so we're just going to kind of ease into it. Oh my goodness, that is powerful. Just getting into it a little bit, it is just absolutely powerful. And I'm kind of feeling those coilovers quite a bit more here on the interstate. Like it definitely, it rides really rough for a truck. You definitely feel it. And now that we've got a little bit of space here, we'll kind of get into it again. Yeah, you don't even have to get up to 4,000 RPMs. I literally just took it off at about 3,700 RPMs right there. And I mean, yeah, it's got so much power. And like I said, you mostly hear the supercharger whine. You don't hear as much from the engine. And we'll kind of just give it one more just so you guys kind of get it, since we can't go full throttle. Yeah, this truck is so powerful. That is absolutely insane. I can't imagine going all the way up to redline in this, especially from a standstill. Even though it's got 305 millimeter tires, just think about it, 770 horsepower when you're in two-wheel drive mode. Just, I mean, done. That is crazy. And I just realized the sticker the whole time was probably reflecting off the window. Sorry about that, guys. But let's get into summing things up on the Super Snake. So in terms of like an overall package, this truck is crazy. It's super niche. Like, I did that Harley Davidson truck last week, and I'm about to do a video on a four-door Shelby F-150 that obviously has a lift and everything. But yeah, this truck is super unique. This basically is like a sole purpose vehicle. Like, if you want like a crazy high performance truck, then this is going to be the route to go for sure, right? And this is gonna be the fastest variant. Like I said, it's got the least amount of weight, still has four-wheel drive and all that. But if you like need speed in a truck, this is the route to go. And other than that, like I said, I know it's niche, but it's really neat. Like this is a crazy truck. Like, I bet in four-wheel drive, because Hellcats can't hook up, you would just destroy every single Hellcat in a race on the road. Like, oh, this thing makes me nervous. That is going to sum things up for our video on this 2020 Ford F-150 Shelby Super Snake. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to Ed Kenley Ford here in Layton, Utah for providing us with the truck. And again, I said it before, but they do not charge any markup on these trucks, just the MSRP for them. So like, it's a super good deal for any of these trucks. Most places, like for something like this, probably are charging over $100,000 for the truck because they always have an addendum on it. So I'm just saying, no addendum on these trucks. I'll see you guys.